Hi there, Eve here from Vitamin Eve Nutrition Counseling, and today we're going to talk about food guilt and why it may actually be a good thing. But before I get started, I'm inviting you to my eat along here. I have some food, I have a beverage, I even have a piece of chocolate. If we make it to the end of the meal, I usually like to end my meals with a piece of chocolate, and hopefully we'll have time to do all of that together. And I also want to thank you all for subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for being here, for all of your comments and your private messages. I really love this world and I'm really happy we could be here together, relearning how to finally tune into our bodies and trust our hunger and all of that. So without waiting any longer, let's jump into this meal and let's jump into this conversation. So if you're hungry right now, please grab some food and join me. If you're not hungry right now, you could wait until you're hungry and watch this then, or you could just follow along and watch it. You have so many options. I'm not even going to tell you what you have to do. So please join us. And if you notice, my cord is right here. I try to keep it high so my little dog Jax won't get to it. So before we get started, just take a moment now and to tune in to where you are in that hunger fullness scale right now. I just finished seeing a client. Right now I'm hungry, I'm ready to go. I'm a 3 boarding a 2. So this food is looking very tantalizing right now. So tune in, take a few breaths. Some people like to start their meal with gratitude, so if you want, you could do that too. I'm very grateful to be here with you right now and to have this beautiful, colorful meal in front of me. So excited to jump in. I'm totally salivating. So let's take a few breaths and let's enjoy our meal together. So food guilt. And I bet you're surprised to actually hear me say it may be a good thing. I'm sharing this topic because it turns out in the past few weeks, in fact, this topic has come up for a lot of people who are healing their eating issue. They're talking about food guilt. So what may cause food guilt? Hold on, let me take this bite. You want to join me for your first bite too? Maybe you already started eating, and that's cool too. So let's talk about what may cause food guilt. Food guilt could be caused by eating something that is not usually something that you eat. So if you're breaking your diet rules. Food guilt could also happen if you ate more than you wish you had. Sometimes food guilt happens for people if they don't exercise and they eat anyway. Or for people who are eating out of their routine. There are many reasons why people might struggle with food guilt. Now, this may happen because there's so many food rules people follow. In this world, in this diet world, in this diet culture, there's so many dieting rules. Avoid carbs, don't eat animal protein, avoid gluten, avoid sugar, avoid fat. There's so much to avoid. So for many people, they're inevitably breaking a food rule that causes them food guilt. And that's why it may actually be a good thing that you're experiencing food guilt, because it may be an indicator that you're finally breaking those diet rules. The big mistake many people make is they try to eat in a way that's in alignment with the diet rules. They try to avoid the guilt. So if somebody eats in a way that's trying to avoid this food guilt, well, that means they're only eating ice and water, depending how many rules they're following. In fact, one day I saw a poster that I thought it was so funny and sad. It was a picture of a plate of ice or a bowl of ice, and it said, "Finally, I'm doing my diet right." And that's kind of the world we live in. That the only time you're doing your diet right is if you're having ice and water. Maybe broccoli, maybe, depending, Even that in some diets isn't allowed, believe it or not. But my point is, in this diet world, it seems like the only time we're doing it right is when we're so restrictive. So that's why it might be a good thing that you're experiencing food guilt, because it may be an indicator that you're finally learning how to listen to your body, finally learning how to tune in, trust yourself. I'm gonna take a few more bites here. If you're wondering what I'm eating, I'm not gonna tell you, because I don't wanna live in that world where the dietitian tells you what to eat. I'm so over that, okay? But if you do want to know because you want to get it because it looks so delicious, you could private message me and I'll tell you, because it really is delicious. I didn't make either of these things. I didn't make the salad. I didn't make the wrap. I didn't do any of this, but I am enjoying it. Where are you in that hunger and fullness? What are you eating? What are you having? Can you tune into your body while you're eating? Or do you actually have to stop? Sorry if this is crunching too loud. Somebody wrote that they don't like loud crunching. I hear you. Sorry, there's some chips in this salad, so there might be a chippy crunch, but I'll try not to make it too loud. So the problem with trying to avoid this food guilt is if you always try to avoid food guilt, you'll never be that eater that you want to be. Because if you're going to always avoid that food guilt, you're always going to be scared. There's always going to be rules that you have to follow. There's going to be this right and wrong mentality. So that's why I want to dedicate the rest of this video to the 7 steps. Not the 7 steps. I'm sure there's a zillion ways to work with food guilt, but 7 steps to help you overcome this food guilt. So let me take this bite and then we'll jump into that. Okay, maybe I'll take a few bites. I'm really hungry right now, so as you could tell, there's like a momentum with my eating and the food is flying everywhere. No, I refuse to eat with a bib. I won't do that. So, tip number 1 is, in this diet culture, I actually want you to feel guilty on purpose. Yes, you heard that right. I actually want you to challenge yourself to feel guilty on purpose. No, you don't have to freak yourself out and have something that feels too scary for you to do. I don't want you to go and, overeat on purpose. But if you're used to not letting yourself get satisfied, how about letting yourself feel a little bit more satisfied or a little bit more full? If you're not used to having, a sandwich with 2 slices of bread, have the 2 slices of bread. In other words, I actually want you to start facing those food rules that scare you in a way that doesn't freak you out, but that is the next safe step for you, okay? So, and I want you to know that when you're feeling the guilt, that yay, this is progress. And I'll share a little bit more about that later. The second thing I want you to know, the second tip, and this was huge for me, so get ready. The second tip is that just because you're feeling guilty doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. So let that sink in while I take a drink of my drink here. Just because you're feeling guilty doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. So for those of you who are people pleasers out there, listen up, I'm talking to you. Because a lot of us who are people pleasers, we do things, oh look at Jackson's in the video. We do things because we don't want to feel guilty. We say yes when we really mean no. Somebody asks you a favor and you say, yay, I'd love to, when you really wouldn't, right? So, believe it or not, I used to be kind of a people pleaser to some people in some way, okay? And as I learned how to set up boundaries for myself, I'm telling you, I felt a lot of guilt. It didn't mean I was doing the wrong thing. It's just I was doing something different. It didn't mean that I was doing something wrong. It felt like I was judging myself, I was judging myself thinking I did something wrong. Does that make sense? So this is the same with food. Just because you're feeling guilty for, I don't know, having dressing on your salad, let's say, eating a drink that has calories, let's say, whatever it is, eating even though you didn't work out at the gym for an hour today, it doesn't mean you did something wrong, okay? Yes, of course, my dog found the noisiest toy as I'm going through this video, so please roll with me here. Guideline number 3. And guideline number 2 is very controversial, okay? I know, it feels weird to say that, right? Just because you're feeling bad about it didn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong, right? Guideline number 3, listen to your guilt. Maybe it has something to tell you. Is it regret? Is there something you could learn from it? You know, is it, oh man, I got so hungry, I ate the whole refrigerator? You know, maybe there's something that you can learn from the guilt. Maybe there's a sense of regret and there's something you could learn from it. Or you want to pay attention to see if that guilt might actually be shame. So guilt is when you feel bad for something that you did, whereas when you're feeling ashamed, we blame ourselves. We say, I'm bad. You know, instead of saying, oh, what I did was bad, you know, when we have shame, we say, oh, I am bad. And there's no place for shame here. I mean, of course, shame happens, and a lot of us who struggle with eating issues also struggle with shame issues. Surprise, even more fun to be had. But if you notice that you're getting mad at yourself and saying, I'm bad, something's wrong with me, I'm defective, I'm stupid. First of all, I've been there before. And learn how to have, if it's shame, and this is step number 4, practice compassion. If you notice that you're going down that pathway and it's looking dark, and it's hard for you to concentrate at work, and it's hard for you to do your homework, or it's hard for you to be present with your family because you're so mad at what you ate or how you ate, what I want you to do is to practice compassion. How do you do that when you're so mad at yourself? I know it's really hard, but when your eating doesn't go the way that you want it to, for whatever reason, I want you to remind yourself that you're doing the best that you could, that maybe it's even progress and healing that you did that, and that if you could do better, you would have. This was the best that you could do at the time given the situation. So learning how to practice compassion for yourself. Guideline number 5 is to, we said learn from your guilt. So this is kind of redundant. Learn from it. See if there's something that you could get. Now, number 6 is a lot of fun. Is choose what you're gonna feel guilty about. Oh, how's the food going, by the way? I'm actually starting to get full. Not full, but satiated, starting to feel good. I'm really enjoying my sandwich. Some of you may be able to guess what it is. So, hey, if you want to private message me, if you think you know what it is, you could do that too. How does your food taste? How's the texture? I really love this dressing. It was kind of like an avocado ranch. And I sprinkled a little lemon on it, so there's like a little lemony kick. I love that combo. Very delicious. Now, guideline number 6 is a lot of fun because this is where you get to use your healing mind. The part of you that wants to be this normal eater or this attuned eater or intuitive eater, whatever you want to call it, may feel guilty becoming this version of yourself because you're so used to following the diet and being rigid with yourself. It may start to feel guilty when you start to become flexible and to tune into what you truly want. When you find out that, yeah, you actually, want the lasagna and not this salad. For some people, that might bring up feelings of guilt, right? Or it may also, for the same person, by the way, feel guilty to continue the eating disorder behaviors. It may feel guilty that you're not letting yourself eat breakfast until noon. It may feel guilty that, instead of eating the sandwich normally, that you're taking out the guts, only eating the inside of the sandwich, or that you're afraid to have the cheese that's on your pizza or the dressing on the salad, or, whatever it is that you're doing, that behavior, that could also bring up guilt for a lot of people. So what I want you to do is to choose what you want to feel guilty about. If you're going to feel guilty either way, right? Would you rather work towards your healing, or would you rather stay stuck? Okay, I'm a little bit biased. Of course, I want you to heal, but be where you are. And in some cases, you may actually choose, the guilt of getting better feels too big for me right now. Whatever, I'm going to stay here a little bit longer, and I totally get that too. This is your process. You're not in treatment. Nobody's sitting on your lap and feeding you food. It's up to you to tune into yourself. So I honor you wherever you are in this process. And guideline number 7 is to celebrate your guilt. When you're feeling guilty, I actually want you to celebrate for a couple of reasons. Let me share why. But before I do, let me eat a little bit. And how about you? Why don't you eat with me too? How's it going? Okay. Drum roll, please. Please. Guideline number 7 is to celebrate your guilt. Woohoo! You're feeling guilty for 2 reasons. One, the sign that you feeling guilty is a sign that you're getting off the diet path. Hoorah! As one of my aunts would say, you know, hoorah! It's her way of saying hooray, right? So hooray that you're getting off the diet, you know, carousel. Great. And I also want you to celebrate that you're feeling guilty because you're feeling your feelings. Yay. And this is a big part of healing. You know, so many of us, to avoid all of these feelings, we eat food, avoid food, exercise, don't exercise, do all these things. So if you're sitting there and you're fuming and you're mad at yourself, I actually want you to celebrate because you're feeling your feelings. And that's a big part of healing. Of healing. So I hope these 7 tips were helpful. And if you want to end watching the video here, you could do that because I'm not going to talk much more. I'm actually going to sit here and enjoy the rest of my meal. So for those of you who feel complete, mwah, I love you. Thank you for watching. And for those of you who want to continue to chill with me as I sit here and enjoy my food and my dog walks around in the background and plays with his toys, you're welcome to do that too. Thank you for watching. So as we sit here eating our meal, I'd love to know, you know, I love the feedback. So I'd love to know, you know, what did you find most helpful about this video? What makes you feel guilty about eating? Is it the what? Is it the how much? When you feel guilty, is it because you're breaking a diet rule? Or is it because, you know, maybe you're having like an accident, you know, like that you got too hungry, or that you had an emotion and that you binged emotionally, or, you know, what is the nature of your guilt? And I'm curious to know which tip stands out to you, either as the most helpful or the most controversial or weird or the hardest one. I'd love to know how you use this information. In my last video, I asked if anybody wants me to eat the food until the end, and actually somebody responded yes. They wanted to see how I end my meal, so thank you for your feedback. So that's what I'm doing now. So if you have any, what do you call it, requests that you would like to see, please know that I'm open for that. I'd love to create content that is helpful in this space with all of this dieting going around. I love being the eating dietitian, and I just messed up my lipstick. So, hey. So yeah. The sauce on this is so delicious. Are you a messy eater, or is it just me? You know? I'm messy. Like, I get it on my clothes, but sometimes I know how to eat in a way that doesn't ruin my lipstick. So it doesn't really make sense, but hey, it's me. How's your body feeling? Let's see how my body is feeling. I still want more food. I'm still hungry. I mean, I'm getting satisfied, but this is still feeling good, you know? That's sometimes how I tell if I'm still hungry, you know? As I'm getting satiated, I check in. I'm like, does it still feel good to eat? Am I still enjoying the flavors? And yes, I am. Do you enjoy watching Jax in the background as he plays with his toy? I love that he's in the video right now. I know this is not a AMSR video, not that I have anything against those. Actually, those are very interesting to watch sometimes. So sorry for the sound effects if they gross you out and cause eating issues, but I guess I can't be healing for everybody all the time. Okay, maybe I'm still a little bit of a people pleaser. But, you know, hey, I'm a work in progress too. FYI. Well, I'm starting to get into the satiation mode. Actually, if I ended my meal right now, I would be satisfied for a while. I'm reaching a good place. But I still want more. Like the idea of this experience, of this sandwich with this yummy juice on it, I'm not done. And the thought of having this avocado ranchy lemony flavor, I still want it. Sorry about that. And for those of you still watching, let me know if you watched this far. I mean, I'm sure I could tell in my analytics, but I never checked. But if you want to share how far you made it in this video, that would be really interesting data. For those people who just let the video play because you're doing something else, hey, you're missing out watching me eat if you just usually listen to this stuff. You know, I almost want to burp, but I won't. I won't cross that line. But I think it's all these cruciferous vegetables that are causing that feeling. Yeah. And you know what? I don't even think that this is my first video on food guilt. I think I did one before in the past. I know I've definitely talked about it to individuals and to groups, but I almost feel like I made a video about it. But I feel like the content was very different. I definitely wasn't eating. Talking about breaking through the food guilt, you know, eating with your dietitian. I hope this is helpful. And what's really cool about this is you never need to eat alone again. You should always hang out with me. And I'm not saying I'm the most fun person. I mean, I have fun with me, but yeah, this is fun. Like, I'm having fun. And you know what, energetically, I feel like we are together, so I'm actually, maybe it's not me that I'm having fun with. Maybe I'm feeling your vibes too. Do you ever think about that kind of stuff? I do. I won't get all existential in this video. Maybe in a future video. Would you like that? Would you like more woo-woo spirituality? I got a lot in me. I have a lot more to share. So, sorry if that's making sound. Well, I feel like I had enough here of this savory thing. So, I'm feeling pretty satisfied. I check along the way as I'm getting full how I'm feeling. I'm noticing the food. It's getting kind of like done. I'm feeling the fullness around here. It still tastes good. It still looks beautiful to me, but I've had enough. My stomach is feeling all right. My energy feels good. I know I'll feel satisfied for a while. I could do the rest of my work. Do I feel like a piece of chocolate? Absolutely. And maybe I may burp into a mic. I just don't know another way around it. Maybe I'll hold the mic if it needs to come up. But yeah, I'm not picky about the type of dark chocolate I like. This one is Ghirardelli though, but I like Dove, I like Divine, I like Trader Joe's. I usually prefer a dark chocolate, but sometimes I have other things. I don't always have chocolate after my meal. Sometimes I have ice cream, sometimes I have nothing, sometimes I have a gummy bear or 2 or 3, or a few M&Ms, you know. But this was handy. And so, you know, might take a piece of chocolate. Usually it's a hot tea. I love to have like a piece of chocolate and a hot tea and allow the chocolate to melt on my tongue. But this is not a hot tea. This is like a sweet juice beverage. So it's not helping it melt, it actually just made it colder. So hey, that was counterproductive. But this is how I end my meals. Check in with my body. I feel pretty good. I might sit for a while and relax because it's like my break in my day. Sometimes I read at the end. Sometimes I have a piece of chocolate. Sometimes I have tea. How about you? What do you do to punctuate the end of your meal? Oh, here it comes. Hold on. I hope you didn't hear that. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for having this meal with me. And as always, I love having you here. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe, comment, because the more people subscribe and the more people comment, the more this content goes to the top and the more people have tools to learn how to listen to their body instead of going on another diet and wasting their time and their life and their emotions on that. So yeah, love you all. Bye.